Hey Wilde family, thanks for watching. I wanted to introduce you today to Enrique Seijas. He is the owner of Matilde Cigars out of the Dominican Republic. They are here with us tonight doing a cut and light featuring their brand. And we're going to talk to Enrique for a minute just to learn a little bit more about Matilde Cigars. How did Matilde come about as a brand?
So Matilde was actually a very old brand. It was founded in 1876 by a person called Matilde Cigars. I don't know the guy, never met him, never met the family. But that's the first part of the story where the brand comes in. Then it comes to my family. My dad started in the industry in 1974, pure coincidence. He was an industrial engineer. He got hired to do a job, built his way up to being the VP of operations and master blender for one of the largest cigar manufacturing facilities in the world. And he became pretty big in the industry, pretty known. He retired in 2011, and I was working with him at the time, and I wanted to do something, stay in the industry. I wanted to stay in the industry, and for him, he wanted to leave, but be kind of retired. And that's where Matilde comes along. So, as Dominicans, we're proud of our country. We believe we have the best tobaccos in the world, the best cigars in the world. We manufacture our cigars in the Dominican Republic, so we thought it would be a great idea to revive a Dominican brand. And that's where 1876 Matilde joins the Seijas family and revive it. That's the reason that our first one is called Renacer. Renacer is actually rebirth or reborn, which is what you're smoking right now. And reborn for two different reasons. It's a rebirth or Matilde was reborn, and at the same time, my dad was reborn in the cigar industry in a different aspect. He came from managing anywhere between 3,000 to 5,000 employees to making anywhere between 20 to 50 million cigars, premium, and went to managing about 15 employees and making a couple 100,000 cigars. So it was a great name for both things. So the rebirth of this brand that we wanted to revive to pay homage to our country with Dominican roots, and the rebirth of my dad in this cigar industry. So that's how we come along with Matilde.
Was the cigar industry always your path? Was that always what you wanted to do since you kind of grew up in it?
No. So I went through various things. I always wanted to work with my father. My dad is a wonderful human being. He's an intellectual person, and he had a very interesting way of doing things and working. He wasn't afraid of hitting things head on, disconstructing processes, bringing back up as an industrial engineer. But he was a huge people's person. He worked very well with people and tried to help as much as possible. We come from a family of politicians, and he got that from my grandfather of helping the people in the town, right? But at the same time, he was a capitalist, so everything that he did was towards making the best cigar that he could in the world, but at the same time trying to help his employees and his people. And I loved the way that he thought, the way that he worked, the way basically, he's my dad. He was my dad, and he was like right up here, right? So there was always the thing that I wanted to work with my dad and learn from my dad. With cigars, I was born and raised in the cigar industry. My dad started in 1974. I was born in 1984. So I can tell you that I rollerbladed in the factory, I got punished in the factory, I slept in tobacco bales, all that beautiful stuff.
Yeah.
But if I tell you that when I was 12, that was my goal, no, it wasn't my goal. I worked with my uncle in lumber, I did distributions for cigars, but I did want to come back and work with my dad. I love tobacco and I love cigars always, right? So when I went to university in Rochester. I was fortunate enough to be sent to Rochester to do my BA. Went back and did my master's, and I came back to work with my father. Worked at the factory that he was working with, and did distribution for cigars. I did manufacturing, and little by little, I started to fall more and more in love with the actual industry itself. And I said, yeah, you know what? This is something I can do, something I love. But my first attraction towards working with tobacco and with the industry was more about me wanting to learn things from my father than it was the actual cigars. Not that I disliked or anything like cigars, I love them.
Yeah.
But it was more of an attraction towards my dad and learning the way he did things. than saying, "Oh, I'm going to be in the cigar industry because this is my love and my passion." It became my love and my passion,
right?
But it came to that.
Now, my path's exactly the same. Is I went off and did other things, came back, and I still work in the family business during the day. But what I learned from him is how we were able to open this shop as an entrepreneur, businessman.
And that's how it's supposed to go. I mean, and we were talking about it outside. They think the cigar industry is one of the industries that if you're not passionate about it, just get out and do something else.
Yeah.
Because there's a way much easier ways to put your job in to make money, but it's not as fun, as passionate as that cool as the cigar industry.
Right. That's what I tell people is that if you're going to get into, especially the production side of the business, you better be fully immersed and in love with it and passionate about it. So it ain't easy.
That is fucking true. By the way, these are freaking great old fashions.
Thank you. We get a lot of compliments. So when you are going about blending and designing a cigar, what's your kind of philosophy? How's your approach to that process?
Well, you first start with what you want to, what's your final goal, what you want to get, right? You want cigars. If you want sweet, you want strength, you want a mild cigar, medium cigar, full bodied cigar. And after that, you have an idea of what you want to blend with those tobaccos. Start blending with those tobaccos and then start to try them out. Just try it. I want a little bit more ligero, I want a little more seco. You just keep on working on until what you get. Sometimes you get a blend like right away, and other times you don't. One of the things that we do is that once we have a final blend, we'll have it made and we'll just keep smoking it for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months to see how it develops. Once we're ready, when it develops and what we like, we just put it out there. But it's mostly of finding something that you like, you think the market's gonna love, and just looking at it and just picking the tobaccos you think are gonna work with it and just start working from there.
Right, because you guys do tend to be pretty selective. You're not one of those brands that has dozens of facings out there. You have what, 6, 7?
We have a total of 4 core blends, and now 5 with the Serena Maduro, which is still the core blend of Serena.
Yeah.
We've changed the wrapper and the binder, and then we have the 2 limited exposures. So we have a total of 7 different blends, and it's basically, we believe in the blends that we make. We believe there is a target for each blend. You have your Serena. You have Serena as a mild to medium cigar. It's got a lot of flavor and character, so it's meant for mild to medium smokers or mild smokers. But it's a cigar that like you and I can smoke in the morning, right? You have the Renacer. The Renacer is a cigar that's medium in strength, has full flavor. It's a cigar that's meant to be smoked all across the day. If you smoke a stronger cigar, it still has enough flavor and body where you can still enjoy it. It's not going to be overpowered by anything, right?
Yeah.
You have the Oscura, which is our stronger cigar. You have Pepper Bombs, and you have the Cuadrata, which is what I'm smoking right now, which is our most balanced cigar. It's not overly spicy, not overly peppery. But I believe that in order to create a brand and to build a brand towards maturity, you have to choose your horses and get behind them and push them as you can. You have to believe in them. So every single brand that we put out there, we believe in and we push and we keep on growing. We keep our portfolio simple and the size is simple. We have a Coronas, Robustos, Toros, and Grandes because we want to make sure we are consistent. We give consistency in our blends, in our sizes. Make sure once you smoke the Renacer, 10 years later, you're going to be smoking that same Renacer, or it's going to remind you of that Renacer you smoked. Because as you know, tobacco is a living thing. I mean, we can't really control. It's not like wine, we have vintages, right? But we want to make sure that when you smoke that Renacer, it reminds you it has the same complexity, the same body, the same strength as that last Renacer. So you go, it reminds me of the Renacer that we're smoking, 2 or 3 years back. But we keep it our core, we keep our blends very close, because we want to make sure we are consistent all the time.
That's actually one of the things I use when talking to customers is the consistency of the cigars. That they're going to hit the same way every time because you're so focused on those. Where some brands tend to put out everything they think of. I always compare it to microbreweries. Some of them, they get their 4 or 5 core beers, and then some, they have fun and they make 50 different things. And And the fact that you guys are very selective about what you put out and very deliberate and really try and make sure that you got your full focus behind it, it makes the quality of these incredibly high.
I like to think they do not suck.
Yeah, they do not.
But you know, it's one thing that my dad always explained, and that was before I was with him in industry. So the funnest part of this job, of having a cigar brand or being able to blend, is the blending part. It's the actual creation part, because you're creating. So you're trying new things. You find out new things. This blends well with that, and so on and so forth, right? Where the work starts is after that blends out. You have to keep it consistent year after year.
Yeah.
So that's where actual working starts. When you're having, the funnest projects that you do is, or I've done, is when I have the limited edition. It's something I know it's not gonna come out again. So you can go fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I remember I did a Canada exclusive years ago, and I made it with our manufacturing partner, Hoachin Tabacalera Palma, and I told the manufacturing manager, I'm like, give me what do you have here that you can't really use because there's not that much to do it, because it was a small production. I'm like, yeah, I want everything. Just, let's try everything out, because I knew I was going to make it again. Like when you're making a cigar, like a cigar that's going to be a core blend, you got to make sure you're going to have that source of tobacco
get it
year after year after year after year, so it becomes a little bit hard. You have to be a little bit more precise when you're working with a core blend and working with limited edition. So yeah, blending cigars is awesome, it's great, it's fun, but you have to make sure you have that tobacco, you have to make sure you have the manufacturing capacity and the buying capacity to be able to have that tobacco year after year, to make sure that the cigar is always going to be consistent. One of the things that the crudest way that my dad once told me was that if you make a cigar that tastes like shit, make sure it tastes like shit all the time, because people that smoke it are expecting it to taste like shit.
Yeah.
Just make it consistent.
That's true.
That's the heart of our industry.
That's
consistency.
True. Because you'll find those people that like that one.
Yeah.
And
not that our cigars taste like shit, by the way.
No, they don't. And that is, for years, people that know me know that the Oscura has been one of my absolute favorites for years. But you'll still see me all the time smoking the Renacer. That new Serena Maduro has been a constant for me. And then we still have some of the LE number 2s in right now, which is a really great cigar that you should come in and try.
That's a great example about blending, about tobaccos, and how the small change makes such a big difference. If you take the Serena Maduro, so our Serena, as I said, our Serena family is mild to medium. Serena means serene, so it's calm. It's got the blue colors because we wanted to remind you of the beach, so it's serene, it's calm. It's mild to medium cigar with character, right? So what we're trying to do is getting this mild to medium cigar and getting a little bit more complexity, right? So we kept the core filler blend for the Serena, and the original Serena Connecticut has a lower binder and has a Connecticut Ecuadorian wrapper. The only things that would change in that cigar was the binder, which is a Criollo 28. It's a little bit stronger than the Olor, so has more natural sweetness to it, and then the San Andrean, which has that natural sweetness to it, and it's got more earth and more complexity, right? And when you put it together, you still have a cigar which is mild to medium, maybe just a little bit more into the medium side, but it's a totally different smoke, 100%. And you only change the wrapper on the binder. Granted, the wrapper has a lot to play when it comes to flavors, but that's one of the things that I've always tried to explain. A change in the tobacco, a small change, can make a change in the blend completely. And that's something that's very cool and also very scary in the cigar industry, right? So you want to make sure you have that supply. That's important.
Awesome. Well, thank you for coming here tonight. I really appreciate it. You're on a tour of Texas right now. You're hitting Austin tomorrow, I believe.
Sure.
Then San Antonio. And I think the official stops are Smokers Abbey in Austin.
Smokers Abbey in Austin.
Finks in San Antonio.
Finks in San Antonio, and then we're going to
the Good Cigar up in Little Elm.
Yep.
So if you're watching this from one of those areas, make sure you go.
Stop by.
See Enrique. If you haven't tried Matilde yet, definitely give it a try. It's one of our best sellers. It's one of our pet cats here. We really love it, and we really appreciate you coming by.
Thank you for having me, man.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone.
Keep smoking.